Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Programming in My Way. Today we are going to discuss very important topic of C programming, that is structures. So you know that there is a concept of user defined data type in C language. So structure is one of the user defined data type. There are other as well. Enum is there, union is there, type def is there. So these are the four user defined data types in C language. So structure is one of the user defined data type in C language. Okay, so we are going to discuss about structure in this session. Okay, so we'll see definition, then how to declare structure, how to declare structure variable, how to initialize structure variable, and so on. So let us start with very important concept of C programming, structure. So we have already discussed about array in earlier lecture. So why structure come into picture? Why Dennis Ritchie invented structure? So before structure there was an array concept. So there is a drawback of array, and to overcome that drawback Dennis Ritchie invented structure concept. So first in brief we'll discuss about what is the drawback of array. So you know that array is a collection of elements having same data type. So consider this is array. Okay, so consider this is array. So array name is A, and you know that this is what? A of 0, this is A of 4. So you know that array index starts with 0 and it ends at size minus 1. So consider this is array. So here, as we have specified, the data type of array is integer. So we can store only integer type of elements in this array. We can't store other type of elements in this array. We can't take float values. We can't take character values in this array. If you want to take float values, then you need to declare, or you need to take another array to store float values. So in that array you can store only float values. So this is the drawback of array. So what is the drawback of array? Array can hold only similar type of elements. Array can't hold mixed data type of element. Array can't hold elements of different data type. And this drawback is overcome by using structure concept. So structure is used to store multiple values of different data type. So it is collection of element having different data type. So there is a drawback of array, and that drawback is overcome by using structure. What is the drawback of array? Array is a collection of elements having same data type only. We can't mix elements of different data type in array. So this drawback is overcome by using structure. Okay. So what is structure? Structure, it is collection of elements having different data type. Having different data type. Getting? So see, we can take integer values, we can take float values, we can take character values in structure. In structure like this. So see, here we are combining integer, float and character values in structure. So structure is collection of element having different data type. Okay, structure is collection of element having different data type. Okay, so now we'll explore structure in detail. So we have seen the drawback of array and how structure is overcoming that drawback, and we have seen the theoretical definition of structure. Getting? Now we'll see how to define structure, how to declare structure variable, how to initialize structure variable. Okay, so let us start with first point, that is structure definition. Structure definition, it is also called as structure declaration. Structure declaration, how to declare structure or how to define structure. So see what we are going to see. First we'll see general syntax and then we'll see example. Okay, so first we'll see the general syntax of structure definition or structure declaration. So what is the general syntax? First there is a struct keyword. There is a struct keyword, then structure name, then structure name. There is struct keyword, then structure name, then starting curly brace, then inside starting curly brace there is a data type, then member 1 semicolon, then data type member 2 and so on. So data type member n and then ending curly brace and then semicolon. So this is nothing but the general syntax of structure definition or structure declaration. So see, there is struct keyword, structure name. Now this structure name should follow the rules for identifier. So in earlier lecture we already discussed about identifier. So this structure name should follow the rule of identifier. Getting? This is also called as tag name or template. Tag name or template name. Getting? Structure name is also called as tag name or template name. So this structure name should follow the rule of identifier. Next, data type. Now based on your requirement, suppose you want to store information of student, then suppose you want to store roll number of student, then this data type can be integer. Okay, so data type and then member name, then data type member name and so on. So you can collect any number of elements here with different data type. Getting? And very important thing, this structure definition should end with semicolon. Many times we forgot to include this one. So this is very important. You should end structure definition with semicolon. So this is general syntax. Now we'll see example of this structure definition. Example of structure definition. Example of structure definition. So that example should follow this particular general syntax. So as we discussed, there is struct keyword first. Suppose I want to store information of student. Getting? I want to store information of student. So structure name is student. Structure name is student. There is starting curly brace. Suppose I want to store roll number of student, average of student and name of student. So I can take roll number in integer, then average in float, and then name of student in character array, and then ending semicolon. This is an example of structure definition. Another example, suppose I want to store information of book, then I can also define book structure like this: struct, then structure name. Suppose I want to store name of book or title of book, so character array. Suppose I want to store number of pages present in book, and then float price of book, and then ending semicolon. So like this you can define structure. Okay, so this is all about structure definition. Okay, now next point is how to declare structure variable. Now very important point about structure definition. Whenever compiler see this structure definition, no memory will be allocated. Okay, so whenever compiler see this particular structure definition, memory allocation will not be done, because this is just template. We are simply telling compiler that I am going to store information of student, and that information will have these types. So I am going to store roll number, which will have type integer. I am going to store average, which will have type float, I am going to store name of student which will have character data type. Okay, so here compiler can't decide how many bytes will be allocated to this structure, because here we are not telling how many students information I am going to store. Simply I am just telling I am going to store student information. Here I am not telling how many student information I am going to store. So here compiler can't allocate memory to your structure. This is very important point. Okay, so this is about structure definition. Now next point is structure variable declaration. See, just we have seen structure definition. Structure definition is different and structure variable declaration is different. So second point is structure variable declaration. Structure variable declaration. Now why to declare structure variable? Why to declare structure variable? Because in previous case memory was not allocated, because we are not telling how many student information we want to store. But by using structure variable, we are telling compiler that I want to store information of 2 students, I want to store information of 3 students, like this. Okay, so again we'll see general syntax. And we'll see general syntax of structure variable declaration. Okay, so see general syntax: struct keyword, then structure name, followed by variable 2, and so on, variable n. So see the general syntax: struct keyword, structure name, then list of variables separated by comma, and last ending semicolon. So here we are telling compiler that I want to store information of these students. See, suppose I want to store information of 2 students, then I need to declare 2 structure variables. Suppose I want to store information of 10 students, then I need to take 10 structure variables. Getting? So based on that number of variables, compiler can understand how many bytes will be reserved for your structure and how many student information user is going to store. So that idea can be taken from this particular structure variable declaration. So what is the example? So we'll take same example, that is student. So first there is a struct keyword, then structure name. In previous case we have taken student structure, and suppose I want to store information of 2 students, so s1 comma s2. Again this structure variable name should follow the rules for identifier. This structure variable should follow the rules for identifier. Getting? So from these 2 variables, compiler can get idea that user is going to store information of 2 students. Getting? So one variable means 1 student and second variable means second student. Getting? Okay. So at this point of time, compiler will reserve the memory for your structure student. Getting? Now how memory will be allocated, that we'll see. Now just consider there is one structure variable s1. Getting? Struct student s1. Okay. Now see, we have already defined student structure like this. Struct student, int roll number, float average, and then char name 10 in semicolon. Getting? So this is structure definition and this is structure variable declaration. So see, we have already discussed that whenever compiler sees structure definition, no memory will be allocated. When compiler see structure variable declaration, at that point memory will be allocated to your structure. Now see, when compiler see this particular structure variable declaration, now compiler will allocate memory. So how memory will be allocated? Okay, that we see. Now see, here there are three members in your structure. Your structure student has three members: roll number, average, name. If we consider Windows operating system, getting, then you know that if it is 32-bit operating system, if it is 16-bit or 32-bit operating system, then 2 bytes will be reserved for integer, 4 bytes will be reserved for average, and for single character it will take 1 byte. For 64-bit, that scenario will be different. For integer it will be 4, for float it will be 4, and then for character it will be again same. Okay, so consider Windows operating system. So see, for S1, what compiler will do? Compiler will reserve memory like this. This will be S1. So compiler will check what is the first member. So roll number is first member. So how many bytes will be reserved for roll number? 2 bytes. So see, these are 2 bytes, and its name will be RN. Member name is RN. Next, average. So it will reserve 4 bytes for your average because it is float, and then 10 bytes, total 10 bytes. So what is member name? Getting 10 bytes like this. So this will be your S1. This will be S1. So this will be memory structure. This will be memory structure. Now see, here you can store roll number, here you can store average, and then you can store name. So see, for roll number 2 bytes, average 4 bytes, and here as it is array of character and size is 10, so 10 bytes. So 2 plus 4 plus 10. So total 16 bytes will be reserved for your S1. 16 bytes will be reserved for S1 at this point of time. Suppose you are declaring one more variable. So similar structure will be there. So member name RN, AVG, and then name. So for S2 as well, again 16 bytes will be reserved. 16 bytes will be reserved for S2. So for S1 16 byte, for S2 16 byte will be reserved by your compiler. So this structure variable declaration is very important. Getting, and very important thing, see, as this is structure variable declaration, okay, and this is structure definition. You can also see this structure variable declaration is on separate line. You can also combine structure definition and structure declaration like this. Structure definition and structure variable declaration you can combine like this. Okay, so this is what structure variable declaration. So in next video we'll cover structure variable initialization at compile time and at runtime. Thank you. If you like my video, then please like, comment and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Programming in My Way. Thank you.